my microphone? Yeah, is that working?
Working now? Okay, let's go ahead and start. Welcome, everybody. Before we start officially, a couple of items. The first is, sorry for the long monologue, but a couple of words from me. Because of our past experience, I feel the necessity to say a couple of things. As I interpret it, the board is about one thing, and that is what's good for PSU. And I underline that with according to the law. In order to determine what's best for Portland State, we need to hear from all quarters of the PSU community, both formally and informally. The board has a number of venues for this hearing of points of view, one of which is the public testimony that we'll hear here in a couple of minutes, which we hold at these meetings. I've learned a great deal personally from having testimony. I followed up personally with a number of those who gave testimony to my benefit and I think to their benefit. I commend those who took the time and the trouble to sign up. I know it's not easy. On the other hand, it is a good process that is fair to everybody. And I just want to remind everybody that there is no legal requirement for us to hold public testimony in these meetings. Some institutions do and some institutions don't. We are unanimous that it's important to us. Since the January board meetings, since January, so that's after the December board meeting, I'm on. The board has begun an exercise of small group meetings across the campus with various students that have been arranged by the faculty and the administration. Those meetings were well attended by trustees and students, and they were, again, from my personal point of view, and from what I've heard feedback from the other trustees, found to be very useful. And a few examples to share with you. I didn't know until we had these meetings that we have a lively and vibrant, redundant, Greek system at PSU. I didn't know that we had a break-in / theft / robbery problem in some of our parking lots. I didn't know that virtually none of our students know anything about our ethics point system for filing of complaints. Anyway, what I did know was, and I'm reinvigorated by the quality of the students at Portland State. As long as the attendance to those small meetings continues to be high, both on the part of the trustees and the students, we'll continue to have those, again, because I think they're valuable. The board is legally required by the state to hold quarterly board meetings. And we're legally required to carry out certain matters of business. And that's why I underlined my first statement with under the law. We're on Portland State University property today. We're talking exclusively about Portland State University business, which means that the Portland State University Code of Conduct is in full force. And we're all expected to abide by it. It's essential, just to summarize, that we hear from you, and it's essential that we be given an opportunity to properly deliberate on behalf of what's best for Portland State. The next item is to announce that for the first time in the history of the university, we are streaming this meeting live, pdx.edu/board. And I just want to remind all the trustees, I hope you brought along your one-page strategic plan so that you can refer to it in the course of the meeting to make sure that all of the actions that we consider or take are relative to that plan. It's important. I'll ask the secretary then to take roll call.
Adarkar. Bestpitch.
Present.
Castillo.
Here.
Mizono.
Here.
Gonzalez-Pratz.
Here.
Hines.
Here.
Imeson. Kirkpatrick.
Here.
Levine. Miller.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Stott. Bernier.
Here.
Eval.
Here.
Chair Nickerson.
Here.
Quorum.
All right, we have a quorum, so all the things that we decided today have full force and effect. I'd like to invite Dana Ghazi, please, to come forward. Dana, I apologize. Didn't read it properly. We're going to have open comment first.
Okay.
I'll call on
That's
you
what I
later.
thought.
My apologies.
No worries.
So we're going to do this in groups of 2. We have 10 names on the list. As I said, they went to the trouble to sign up, first come, first serve, and we had 10 people sign up. We have 30 minutes of time, so that works out 3 minutes apiece. If you could please respect that. With the first 2, please come forward. I want to make sure I have Bobby Zaman, please, and Marcus Siss.
Hi, my name is Olivia Pace. I'll be speaking on behalf of Bobby Zaman, who's in the back right there, and he's giving me a spot.
Okay.
Board members, President Pavel, hello again. It's the beginning of spring term, and it's been a very interesting school year for student activists and administrators alike. People are angry across the country and at PSU. People are tired of seeing our education being hijacked by corporate models such as the one we see at Burlington University, and they're fighting back, which is what has caused so much trouble for all of you this year. And so you have attempted to stop us at every turn. I'm not going to give the laundry list of reasons why we're upset today. I've done it too many times, it hasn't worked, and all of you know better than anybody about the corruption, manipulation, and oppression that goes into running this university. All I'm here to do today is to acknowledge the students behind me and community members. Today we're here with Takeover our mouths to symbolize the way in which we've been silenced as students. To symbolize the way President Pavel often refuses to look at students when they're addressing him, but he is good. To symbolize our words on open comments over the last 3 years being left out of the notes. To symbolize campus security being armed without our consent. To symbolize the only 2 black women in the student union being targeted by the administration after the insurrection of the conversation. An action that involved around 60 people. To symbolize the president of this university trying to make deals with members of student government in the hopes of undercutting our work. We talked to people of him. To symbolize students being threatened with suspension or expulsion for interrupting the last board meeting, if continued activism were to occur, when you had almost 3 years to conduct a meaningful dialogue and chose not to. So today we are here knowing that this administration does not care about student voice, and there is no amount of open comments, meetings, panels, protests that can make the board and the administration believe that student voices truly matter at this institution. Until campus security is disarmed, until food insecurity is fought by breaking the university's contract with Aramark, until everybody working at the university makes a living wage and our tuition is lowered, not raised, by lowering administrators like Vin Pavel and Carmen Suarez to 6-figure salaries. Instead of students standing up and fighting against you today, the pictures on social media and in the news will show a group of students who have been silenced. Students who want to show the world that PSU does not allow for student voices to matter, and that Vin Pavel especially has done everything in his power to reinforce that. I can't imagine this week very beneficial to the reputation of the university, which Vin holds so close to his heart. Thank you.
Marcus Siss, are you in the room? Okay, I'll call Samuel Herbs and Grant Walter, please. Can you identify yourself first, please?
Yeah. My name is Grant, and I'm a junior here at PSU. Sam is going to go join us. He has something else going on. I want to second everything Lydia said, but also highlight some of the ways in which the decisions the board has made have created conditions of poverty for students all across the campus. First off, last term for myself alone, the cost of PSU's health insurance was 17%, almost a fifth of my cost of attendance. That's outrageous. That's unrealistic. That's completely untenable. That's not a sustainable model. That alone makes education extremely hard to achieve. Second, grad students are teaching without pay. The quality of education that they are able to deliver is not the same because they haven't received their training in full. They're unable to teach students with the quality of a tenured or full-time professor. Yet, students continue to pay full price for their education. That's not fair. You're shortchanging us. Online classes are increasing, while students have paid for classes that go unused. $40 a credit for an online class? Where does that money go? You're creating poverty for students trying to get ahead in life. PSU workers are not paid $15 an hour. They're not paid a living wage. They're barely paid to go to this university. You have created conditions of poverty for these people, these students. These are but a few of the problems that our students are facing. We're here, obviously, we've been telling you about them for years, and you failed to take any sort of action. You must change these things right now. If you report to care about the student body, these are the first things you pay attention to and the first things you change. Many of us are here having invested thousands of dollars, several years at least, and the prospect of not being able to complete an education because taking out excessive loans is not an option. You shut down the option of completing an education here at PSU for many students. You need to change that. You have the responsibility.
Are you in the room?
Not here today.
Jill Bakari and Kayla, Meyer.
Chair Nickerson and members of the board. My name is Kayla Meyer, a freshman honors student here at PSU. I'm not a representative of any group or organization today. I am simply here to stand alongside my peers to address the issues that cause students, faculty, and staff unnecessary suffering. Born and raised in New Mexico, I came to Portland State after years of planning, working, saving, and dreaming. I knew my parents wouldn't help much with college, but I still longed to experience something totally different, to find new opportunities I didn't have back home. PSU seemed like my dream school, an affordable, diverse, liberal arts university, but I wouldn't be here today if I still thought it was. In fact, it's far from it. Although I've been working all year as a campus employee, my dire financial situation has led me to the realization that I can no longer afford this school, and I'm not alone. Students all across this campus know that the cost of education, the cost of a basic human right, is absurd. We work endless hours trying to support ourselves and each other. So when we hear that our administration and board are trying to increase tuition again, we see that our voices aren't heard and our needs unmet. And that's not all. The arming of campus security, despite long-term student opposition, the low wages of campus employees, some of whom are homeless, our food service contract with Aramark, whose CEO makes tens of millions of dollars every year. And you don't want to be blamed for these issues, but you should be. I know for a fact you could do more to address them, a lot more. You appear to listen to our voices, then proceed to ignore the issues. Even worse, you make poor decisions despite our contributions of time, effort, and money to making this campus a more just, strong, and equitable place. From our perspective, you are clearly more concerned with construction projects, public image, and profits than with the well-being of the people. Upon being granted permission to speak today, I received a list of tips, part of which included rules of respect, empathy, and humanization. I ask of you now to abide by those rules on your end. To think deeply about how your decisions are truly affecting the lives of human beings. You all have a duty to make decisions in the best interest of students, faculty, and staff. No one else. And here we are yet again, trying to make a difference by directly engaging in the process. I stand with my peers, with love and hope for this school, and asking you all to disarm PSU, cut ties with Aramark, raise campus wages, and prevent tuition increases. I hope you may find it in yourselves to stand with us, not against us.
Hello? Oh. Hello? Okay. Before I address the board, there's something I wanted to ask real quick. It seems like we have a lot of people here, and I was wondering if the first two rows could scoot up a little bit. Oh, sorry, correction. By the way, it's not Joe Bakari, it's Bakari Hill. I'm involved. No worries, yeah. I'm a student here at PSU, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of myself and for those whose voices are no longer here with us, not just here up in Portland, but across the U.S. I want to speak for those who suffer from mental illness, who struggle in their lives, and who have come to an untimely end due to the armament of officers, due to police brutality. I completely respect the public safety here on campus, contrary to belief. Prior to this, I worked for 3 years at my community college public safety, and then an additional year for work study. I understand the troubles and tribulations that they have to go through, the dangers that they face. Everything from bomb threats to shooting threats, everything from destructive acts and just things that just don't make sense. But one thing did make sense at Chemeketa Community College that doesn't make sense here. They chose, instead of armament, instead of force, instead of fighting fire with fire, they chose to work with students. They chose to work with those that were in need of help. I understand that there is a CARE program here on campus, and I commend the Board of Trustees for doing that, for supporting that. But as an individual who deals with mental illness, who has faced police brutality, who is a minority here in the city, who has faced racial injustice and hatred, I can no longer believe in the narrative of the school, the idea that it is a place of diversity, equality, that we are fearless, we are fearful, and instead of pushing for education, instead of pushing for discussion and understanding, we push our own fears. So all I ask of the board today is, if and when I become another statistic, please write something beautiful in my obituary and place flowers on my grave.
Jacob Loveless. Trevor Jacobson, Trevor Loveless. Are you in the room? Jacob Loveless, I'm sorry. Trevor Jacobson, Jacob Loveless. Shannon Neal, Kenyon McAfee,
Chairman Dickerson and members of the board. My name is Shannon Neal. I am a projectionist for PSU student-run theater, Fifth Avenue Cinema, as well as a TA in the theater and film department here at PSU. I worked for PSU for a year this coming May. Fifth Avenue Cinema ranks among, with the Northwest Film Center and the Hollywood Theater, as being one of the last cinemas in the state still projecting movies on 35mm film, and to assist in the operations of the cinema is a real gift. Sadly, these opportunities come to me at the cost of poverty wages. I feel that my coworkers and I should not have to rationalize our quality of life to accept the poverty wages we are given. Last term I was on campus 7 days a week. Between classes and having to pick up the slack at work because our alternate projectionist suffered a work injury, I was burned out, underpaid, and distressed for the entirety of the term. There are 4 students on staff at the cinema. We are paid once a month at rates between $9.60 and $10.50 an hour. Given that our staff is so small, it hardly makes sense that we do not have a budget that can supply a living wage. The employees at Fifth Ave include 2 skilled projectionists, a professional designer and marketing coordinator, and a cinema coordinator. Our wages directly reflect a devaluation of the responsibility, flexibility, and rarefied skill sets that my coworkers and I all possess and bring to Portland State. Our designer fulfills a dual role by also enacting the marketing roles at our cinema. These 2 jobs do not go together in any industry. Because of her unprofitable compensation and 2 varied responsibilities, the quality of her work is suffering. She prefers her other design job where she makes $20 an hour, utilizing her skills in a position that makes sense. Why should I expect good work from her when she makes $10 an hour doing a job that is far more scattered than her other job? This is an example of cheap labor and its failure. This is to say nothing of the ridiculous demands of my cinema coordinator's position, which would be less ridiculous if he were adequately compensated. Like the marketing designer, his job could also be 2 jobs. Instead, our wages make it so that all of us must work second jobs, and all of us do. This makes our lives all the more hectic, keeping our grades up to remain in good standing, while working 2 jobs to survive. It is extremely difficult to be efficient without having adequate time to be a team because of our constantly conflicting schedules. It pains me that this job has been put on the back burner by my coworkers because of how stressful it is and because of how unprofitable it is. I am able to work this job for reasons that speak to my own personal privilege. Without financial aid, I promise you I would not be in college right now. I worry for future applicants of the cinema who cannot afford to perform cheap labor, no matter how passionate they are, while they pay their way through school. This job is not set up to be a leadership opportunity because of its inherent exclusivity. This is one of those jobs that actually costs money to have. Many great candidates will not even apply for my position because few people are able to support themselves at $9.60 an hour. Nobody should have to at PSU. PSU's website states that a student leader nurtures abilities in themselves and others in order to make an ethical and socially just impact on campus or in the larger community. That's what brings me to you today on behalf of my student community who deserve better than the poverty wages that they are told they should be grateful for. All work experience is real-world experience, and student work should be compensated as such. Fifth Avenue Cinema and I stand in solidarity with PSU's demands, including that of a $15 minimum wage for campus workers. We cannot wait. PSU has the opportunity to be a leader itself right now.
Okay, that exhausts the list. Again, I want to thank you all for taking the time to present your points of view. I don't want to emphasize how important it is to us to hear those comments. Now, Dane DeGazza, ASPSU President. And Gina Greco, could you please come forward so we're prepared when your time slot arrives? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, David, yeah. My apologies.
Hello everyone, David is going to be speaking with time slots. Good afternoon, Chair, Nickerson, board members, members of the audience. My name is Dana Ghazi and I'm the president of the Associated Students of Portland State University. Over the past few days, I've been occupied with thinking of what I would like to speak to you about through this address, as this is the last time for David and I, as Vice President and the President of the Associated Students of Portland State University, to be present at this meeting. In the last board meeting, we as a community were going through very intense and difficult times due to widespread instances of racism and marginalization on our college campuses. Since then, we have had rallies, student of color speak out events, teaching events on Islamophobia, and the university has invited Black Lives Matter founders packing the Staff Center with students, faculty, and community members who are interested in meeting the founders. While the disease of racism and discrimination and structural violence persist in our society, we have seen steps by the university towards addressing these issues. However, it is important to mention that some of these efforts publicized by using the hashtag PSU diversity have at times done more harm than good, tokenizing the students of color experiences and depriving them of their agency in service of what is now deemed by many as a social media propaganda for the university. We understand this is a work in progress and assert the need for better results, ones that center student experiences at the heart of every discussion we hold on diversity rather than the university's own image. We refuse as racially, ethnically, sexually, economically differently able-bodied communities for our identities to be utilized for generating profit rather than building a truly unique, inclusive, transformative educational experience that truly serves the city. I want to speak a little bit about my personal experience this term, kind of in reflecting on everything that happened over the past year. I'm graduating with my master's this term. Since the beginning of this week, I've had to make sure that I'm registered for classes and registered for graduation, and that I have paid my dues on time so that I don't get charged a $100 fee, late fee, and prepare for my assignments that are coming through this term. In addition, I'm a graduate assistant working 10 hours a week and the president of the student government and a mother of 2 children. I'm sharing this with you because as it's important to highlight over and over that we as students have a lot to juggle with when we are in this university. The amount of dedication that we put forward to be able to speak with you, be able to engage is tremendous. Therefore, to have such dedicated students behind me showing up and telling you and sharing with you their needs, it should be very very appreciated, and it shouldn't be met with disciplinary action notices by any means. It's really abhorrent and unacceptable that any of the students here who might be experiencing discrimination, poverty wages, and social and institutional barriers, and along with other faculty members and staff members who might be experiencing homelessness and food insecurity, have to also be threatened with disciplinary action. It is completely unacceptable, and we as students stand with solidarity with them. The way I see it is that they are exercising their the only power they have. We are told that this is a model based on shared governance, yet we don't see that happening. It's obvious that their power lies in the hands of this board. They are here resisting non-violently, holding no tasers, clubs, or guns. In fact, it's the administration and other bodies here that have the tasers and guns, and the arming of campus security went through without the consent of students. So I feel like those threats are misguided. I want to mention that we as students and as part of the Oregon Student Association have just voted on the blueprint policy of the issues that the Oregon Student Association is going to tackle for the next 2 years. And on the top of that list is addressing campus safety reforms, including disarmament and racial profiling, and then cultural competency for campus security officers. We understand and we appreciate the campus security officers who are here to maintain a safe campus for all of us, but we understand that this shouldn't be happening through arming campus security and policing our communities. I would like to turn it to David to speak a little bit about the suggested increased tuition for this year.
Hi. Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is David Martinez. I'm the Vice President of the Student Association of Portland State University. So, in PSU, we have the responsibility to represent the best interests of the student body. And as students' leaders, we are held accountable with the ethical principles and university values. Therefore, as a student government, we feel that any increase in tuition will not only be jeopardizing the student experience, but will also threaten students with the continuation of their educations. One of the joint expectations of the Board of Trustees Financial and Administration Committee is to find additional cost savings for the students. Therefore, the 4% or $111 for term student tuition increase recommendation they sent to this board is not reflecting that compromise. The students are already facing several economic and social barriers to continue their education. For example, the high fee of the payment plan of the increase of food, which is creating food insecurity for many students, including myself. So adding one more financial adversity will just put in risk their academics. The university, in its 5-year plan, has a compromise to help those students that are first generation, students from low-income families, and students that are coming from marginalized communities. Therefore, any recommendation to increase the tuition do not reflect the plan. There should be other solutions to this issue. We as students should not be expected to cover for the high administration salaries while not having access to affordable education. It is real shame that Oregon is one of the states with lower funding in higher education in the country. It should be not only the responsibility of the students, but also the faculty and administration to change that. Education is one of the basic instruments for a successful society, and it should be available and affordable to everyone with expectation. It is time to rethink how universities function in society so we can relate them to an academic-oriented institution and take them away from a business-oriented model. Thank you.
Since we will not be here at the next meeting, I want to bring attention to the obvious tension between the Board of Trustees and students, and something that is being highlighted in the Oregon Consensus came to us as the student government and talked about. And I think this is a step forward because it exposes a problem. And I want to share with you, as a conflict resolution student and as a revolutionary feminist who studied at this university and under the amazing faculty at the Women, Gender, and Sexuality department, and then in the conflict resolution department, that what we are taught at this university by our faculty are amazing amount of information, our information and knowledge that we take forward, but when we put into society, we are faced with what we perceive right now, like here, institutional bodies of power that are not really creating equitable systems. So we are at this same university, we are being told two different narratives. One narrative that's coming from our classroom, and then one narrative that is not being translated into our community. We really hope forward. We really hope, looking forward, that this will be changing soon and that the next year will have a more fostered relationship that are equitable for everyone. Thank you.
Hi, Gina. Please begin. I'm going to stand up and go over and talk to Shelley Wynn for a moment about a technical problem. I don't mean any disrespect.
Okay,
Please
no
begin.
problem. I'm passing around 2 handouts. They're different handouts, so pass them both around, please. So good afternoon, Chair Nickerson, members of the board. Today I'm here representing the Faculty Senate, of which I'm the presiding officer. And I'm not going to go through a litany or laundry list of everything that's been going on in the Senate. I'll just mention a few things that happened at our March meeting. Among other curricular decisions, we approved the creation of a STEM institute and also a graduate certificate in global supply chain management. We approved programs throughout the year. And I just want to point out that this is a very thoughtful process. Any new program or course begins in the appropriate curriculum committee or educational policy committee. From there, they're looked at by the faculty budget committee, then the steering committee, and then it goes to the Senate floor for a vote. So in the spring, we will have reports from all of the committees, and we'll make those available to you. But what I want to focus on today is the material that came out of the Winter Symposium that was held on January 20th on liberal education and what it means to be educated in the 20th century, 21st century, sorry. I'm dating myself. There were 4 main topics of discussion. One was how do we balance wellness and productivity? And in that one, a lot of discussion was about, ended up being about food issues among students, but also about stress and how to balance being a productive student, being a productive citizen, and remain a healthy person. Another topic was global versus local. How do we focus on our desire to have knowledge serve the city and to have students work in internships and work in the community with a need to also have a global vision. And there was great discussion on all of those, but on those 2 topics, I don't have time to go fully into all 4 of the topics. So I just mentioned those. I want to focus today on the topic of equity and inclusion, and then on curriculum depth and breadth. So this is first the page without a staple. The scope of the discussion on equity and inclusion, the majority of the discussion focused on the need for cultural competence training and how to ensure equity and inclusion in the curriculum and classroom. 3 leitmotifs, and there were over 200 people present, faculty, staff, and administration. I had been on the organizing committee, but unfortunately I was ill that day, so, but I read all of the notes and summarized them. So anyway, the discussion focused on how to ensure equity and inclusion in the curriculum and classroom, and there were 3 leitmotifs that ran through the comments as I read through all of them. 1, this is important. 2, this will be time and labor intensive. And 3, significant support will be required from the administration to address these issues and implement any initiatives. The Faculty Senate action are the bullet points. That shows where the Faculty Senate with whom the Faculty Senate has shared these notes and the things that we have done. For example, at our March meeting, we had members of the Diversity Action Council come to introduce and lead a discussion about cultural competence. and we look forward to continuing our relationship with the Diversity Action Council. We'll also invite for our May meeting some faculty members who have done work in their own courses to alter their curriculum and to share their experience with creating a cultural competent curriculum, what that means, what it entails, and to lead a discussion on the Faculty Senate floor. The next section of all of these summaries show how the discussion intersected with the strategic plan, so how anything that came up could relate to the strategic plan, and you'll see there are many things that came up in the discussion that do relate to the strategic plan. And then next is a summary of the themes. This is just the cover sheet. The full document is maybe 10 pages long. It includes all of the comments grouped by theme. But yeah, I'm just giving you the cover sheet that has the summary of themes. And you'll see that cultural competence training received 54 comments. And many symposium participants expressed a desire for professional development and training opportunities in cultural competence, equity, and inclusion. There were different views on whether or not that training should be required or whether it should be incentivized or whether people should just simply choose to do it. There were different opinions on what's more effective, but there was a recognition that it's important to offer it and that there needs to be institutional support for that to happen. Pedagogy and classroom climate came up a lot in the discussion. A number of specific suggestions, good suggestions for creating equity, inclusion, cultural competence in the classroom environment. And so those would be items to consider in the development of any cultural competence training. And that full summary has been shared with both the provost and the Diversity Action Committee. People talked about the importance of defining and assessing equity. There was broad acknowledgement of the need to track and analyze data and then make evidence-based decisions to improve equity and inclusion on campus. There was talk about the possibility of extracurricular advising and outreach efforts to help promote equity on campus, and then general discussions about the curriculum. So that's just a summary of some of the things that came up. And there are summaries of all 4 topics. As I said, I just chose to go in depth on 2. The second one is the handout with the staple. And that was the discussion of depth and breadth in a curriculum. How much should we focus on depth, for example, the major, and how much should we focus on breadth, that is an introduction to a wide number of items and a varied experience in classroom and out of the classroom. So a large part of that discussion focused on how we should define breadth for our student body, the financial and societal context that can make breadth a difficult sell to students and also to the society. There's a lot of pressure to earn money, to be productive, all of this, and so sometimes the value of breadth is not easy to see to everyone. And the importance of making the curriculum relevant to our students' needs and experiences. In terms of academic content, discussion was fairly general, noting the value of balancing knowledge with skills and providing content that's varied, content that's related to life, to citizenship, and to career. So we feel that everyone agreed that education should enhance the person, should enhance the person as a participant in the democracy and their communities, and also enhance their ability to have a productive career. Quite a bit of discussion explored ways to structure the curriculum and design pedagogy to meet these goals, including the importance of transparency and the use of interdisciplinary approaches, teamwork, and community engagement. Finally, there was much attention focused on how to address challenges posed by students' increasing lack of college readiness that the Portland public school system in particular has had some major cuts which have had an effect on students' readiness when they arrive, and how do we best create a curriculum that allows everyone to be successful no matter what high school they attended before they came to Portland State. Many of the topics and suggestions fell within the purview of the Faculty Senate, so we'll be continuing to work on these. On February 1st in the Senate meeting, we had a discussion about liberal education. We are working on a proposal to create a task force to explore this, and Brad Hansen, who will be the incoming presiding officer, he'll be presiding officer next year, will be working on that. We have the next paragraph on my handout shows the intersections with the strategic plan. Again, there are many ways that our discussion and our future work on this topic intersect with the strategic plan. And then in terms of themes, people talked about how should we define breadth and how do we balance the definition of breadth. For some, relevance focuses on career development, employer needs. For others, relevance is related to our current global context. For others, breadth is relevant simply in and of itself. So different people have ideas about what breadth is and why it's important. And so trying to find a balance there is important. But I think going back to what emerged from the discussions, balancing the personal development, the citizen, and the career, those three items help us also balance breadth. There was a lot of talk about what we should teach, what kind of academic content, what kind of social subject matter. There was discussion about how the curriculum should be structured, what the focus should be. A lot of discussion about pedagogical and curricular transparency, the importance of being explicit, different pedagogical practices, the importance of extracurricular experiences that can support student learning, and also the need to offer career exploration, life advising, study abroad, college preparedness, skill building, helping students move out of their comfort zone for those for whom college is a new experience, and also dealing with financial concerns and impediments. So those are the different topics that arose. Those are all the things we'll try to balance in our discussions, and I just wanted to share with you the results of that symposium and what Senate has been talking about and thinking about. Any questions?
Gina, I have one. Thank you. Brad Hansen's tenure begins when?
June 15th.
June 15th. Is he
Yes.
here today?
I don't believe so. Brad?
No.
He'll be here at the end of June even. We'll both be here.
Mic check.
Mic check!
The next item is the consent agenda.
Mic check.
Mic check!
Single file. Single file. Mic check.
Mic check!
This was in the docket, and there's 4 items. We will consider them as one and be seeking, the floor is open for discussion.
The public comment is not over.
The public comment is not over.
Public comment period is over. You're interrupting our meeting.
The public comment isn't over.
Public comment is not over.
Who's first?
I am. Can I take the place of some of the people who didn't show to comment?
Mr. Chair, can I
Yes.
call for it? Thank you.
Okay, you don't have the floor and you're out of order.
We're still in
Please
public
take a
comment.
seat so the meeting can
We're
continue.
still in public comment.
We are listening.
We're community members and we
Please
say
move
you
away
have
from the
floor.
board tables. Please. Please move away from the board tables.
My name is Donna Erbs, and I am the mother of a PSU student and the mother of a recent PSU graduate. I'm quite concerned about the arming of PSU's campus security officers, especially within the context of what I observe happening at the university. I'm wondering what kind of a climate we are creating for our students here. When I attended a state university, it was the richest in the state, not by far. It was not a show place, nor was it in the Pac-10. What it was a place of inquiry, of experimentation, of the freedom to explore, to grow, to question, to make mistakes, to change. My university was not a place to be afraid of those who are supposed to be protecting me, serving me, and guiding me. But this seems like a very different place. What am I to think as a mother and a citizen about a state university during a time of fiscal constraints that has leadership that thinks replacing the football stadium of venues not to be visited by a majority of is a good idea?
From the beginning of October of 2014.
I know that this university leadership sends a message to students, such as those in the School of Gender, Race, and Nations, that they should be content with the 60-year-old XSB building, but that business students and engineering students and football playing students deserve It's a consistent message, one that plays out in so many ways here. It's about money, fight union organizing, pay substandard wages, manage the university like a business, invest in the areas that will attract the most capital, such as out-of-state tuition payers, foundation donors, etc., and leave the rest to fend for itself. Extend over the entire university a model of control that manages change, diverse thinking, and dissent so as to enhance its attractiveness to those with money to bring. An essential element in this control model has to be arming the campus security officers. Never mind that there's no actual real and present increase in danger here. Never mind the faculty doesn't think it's a good idea. Never mind that the Portland Police Bureau patrols downtown Portland and is just blocks away. This is about conformity and control. Just look at how lawful protest and civil disobedience is undermined with threatening letters to PSU students, threatening them with disciplinary action. But this isn't the worst of what could be. I worry for my child who is transgendered, and for other students who speak up, and even for the ones who don't, but who are simply not white or cisgendered, or are in some other way at the edges of society. What happens when armed police confront them during a protest or action? I was alive at the time of Kent State, as I'm sure are many members of this board, when students were mowed down. When guns are present, doesn't it stand to reason that they're more likely to be used than if they are not present? And what am I to think of this particular story? A campus safety officer tells a student during a conversation about why the officer should carry guns. That he had to roust a person using illegal drugs from a basement restroom in one of the buildings. And when he went to arrest the person, that person ran away before the arrest could be made. And that, the officer said, is why he needed a gun. What is the reasoning here? That the person wouldn't have run for fear of being shot? That the officer could have stopped the fleeing suspect by shooting them in the back? What is the thinking? This isn't about safety, this is about control. Officers aren't supposed to shoot people running away in the back. But, really folks, I doubt very seriously that I'm going to change the mind of the board. I can, however, continue to turn to you, the students, the faculty, the community of PSU and Portland, and say, you can make a difference. If I can stand up and tell this truth to power, As one woman, one middle-aged parent, just think what you can do. They want you to be quiet and passive and unquestioning. If this isn't right, if this is wrong, and you know it, there are representatives from organizations here today whom you can link arms with, literally and figuratively, who will show you how your voice matters, how your numbers matter. So please, stop letting this generation take advantage of you. They've mortgaged your future, they're crippling you with debt, and they're sending you off to their money-making wars. Please, don't let them shoot you too. Go. Bother those in power.
Hear, hear.
This was the first one they filmed. They filmed themselves walking away from you. They filmed themselves not listening to you. So while you make your comment, know you already won. You already won. Walking away from you.
All right, LaDon.
You already won.
All right. Welcome to Poverty State University. Hello, and everybody. I have been here before, poured out my heart, and told this board that this place is racist, and what I just put on his table is 1,000 signatures to support $15 for all PSU workers. And we have been collecting and working for the students. Myself, like, you guys know the situation. We've said it over and over. This is Poverty State University. Students are going hungry. They can't pay their tuition. They cannot survive. I'm bleeding every day to come here. With that said, I'm going to just keep it short. I addressed Islamophobia on this campus, and what they did is a little teach-in, which is not going to solve anything. So those flowers are probably for me when I die on this campus, if possible, because I am black and Muslim, and the school is pretty much 70% white, and I will be targeted. With that said, we need this campus disarmed, guys. And that is all I'm going to say.
Thank you,
I'm next. Yeah. Hi everybody, I'm Olivia Pace. I'm with the Student Union and with PSU Student Labor Action Project, the first and only student labor action project completely ran by women of color. And at SLAP, our message right now to board members, thank you for staying, Maria Gonzalez-Prats. This is our only student representative on the board, and that needs to change. Our message at SLAP right now is that diversity, no matter how plentiful, does not equal equity. It doesn't. It just doesn't. A task force, as Zim said, which examines issues of race on campus is not going to change the fact that while all of us who are working on this campus, if we're student workers, are making below minimum wage, that is still disparately toward people of color, specifically women. Right. A teach-in on Islamophobia does not change the fact that if violence is pressured against Muslim students at this university, that is not going to be taken the same way as if they were to hurt somebody's precious white child. All of these things do not increase equity among students of color on campus. In fact, the idea that diversity can mean equity creates a climate of violence on campus. Once people in the community and people in this administration and on the board believe that diversity equals equity, they start to ignore the problems and our bodies become solely for profit and we are not safe anymore. Campus security was armed without our consent, and I think that they believe that the farther away we get from the armament, which was in June of last year, the more we'll forget. But people are not going to forget. The numbers were there, faculty didn't want it, students didn't want it, students have been organizing against it ever since with almost the full support of faculty along the way. The only people who have turned their backs to these issues. It's not the staff, it's not the students, it's not the community, it's not the faculty, it's the administration. And we're tired. That's right. We're tired, and our goal still stands to disarm campus security, to get paid a minimum wage of $15 an hour or more, to break the contract with Aramark, to fight food insecurity, and to lower our tuition by lowering salaries that Vin and Carmen Suarez, whose job is to increase diversity and equity, and inclusion on campus, not equity, and Michelle Toby and other administrators make. First on that agenda is and has been and is still to disarm campus security. We're done, we're tired, and we are walking out on May 10th of this year, this school year. We're walking out at noon to the park blocks. Tell everybody you know, tell your professors, tell your friends, tell your parents. Bring everybody that you know there, even if they aren't a student, because we're tired. This is going to happen. It was without our consent, and when something happens without your consent, you need to fight back so that it's your choice. That's your choice, and you can make those decisions. These aren't students. They live in big-ass houses. They don't live here. They don't learn here. They don't make money here. That's all I have to say. May 10th.
Because we are a community action plan, and my name is Teresa Rayford. I'm a community member, and I'm a lead organizer of Don't Shoot Portland, which was started by a ton of students from Portland State University, along with community members in the city of Portland. And when we worked together with those community members after Mike Brown was murdered in Ferguson, Missouri, and we came together collectively with students in the social work program, Carissa Molden, a student with the PSU, ASPSU, and all that other good shit, we realized a whole lot of things that were happening on this campus were being done to us in our communities. And so that brought us together. We're still together. We're still standing here. Back in October of 2014, all of the things that they said when they opened up this meeting about the lighting and people not understanding the process of complaints and all that other stuff, we brought that information to them. We told them everything that they needed to know so that they could improve this campus for safety without guns. We even brought to them the information, the analytics, the legislation, and everything else from every campus department here. Everybody had a voice in this. All of those voices were ignored. All of them were silent. Faculty, students, neighbors, all silent, even though they put their voices on the record. At Board of Trustees meetings in 2014, when we were bringing this issue to them before they went ahead and passed it in June, not only did they ignore us, they walked over bodies of children and people that were trying to show them what was happening. And even when some of the professors and instructors on this campus talked to them about the death of students that were killed by police officers because they didn't speak the language and they didn't understand what was happening when they were being confronted, it didn't matter to the Board of Trustees. They didn't care. So we protested. And now it's 2016, and we're still protesting. But they changed their game on us. They said, you know what? The increase in diversity, yeah, we got guns so we can deal with all those brown people coming from around. We can hold them down. We can have them in a position to where they understand where the authority is, the supreme rule. And then they say, you know what? We ain't even got to work that hard because most of them are poor anyway. So if we hike up this tuition, some of those students that want to protest with them people in Portland that they think they got to care about and stand with, in solidarity with, well, you know what? They can go too. Because I seen a lot of them leave because they can't afford to stay. So that works. So that works. At some point, like today, when we shut it down, in June, they might as well get shut down again. They shouldn't have no more board of trustees meetings. Period. You didn't already prove that you can do it. And for them to sit up there and put the disclaimer up front that they don't have to let you come in here and speak, that hasn't stopped anything. So that's all I got to say.
I want to speak about what's possible. When I was in school, I worked for minimum wage. I didn't get any Pell Grant. I was able to pay my tuition, buy my books, pay my rent, buy my food on minimum wage, working 20 to 25 hours a week. That's what we need here. Even $15 an hour won't do that, but it's a start and we need it today. That's right.
Hi everyone, my name's Andrea Lemoyne and I'm here with Jobs with Justice. We are a non-profit organization really focusing on workers' rights here in Portland and focusing on social justice here in Portland. And what can be more at the heart of that than your free speech, right? And your right to protest. So that is why J with J stands in solidarity with students here. We also recognize that this university cannot cut you off from us, all right? You are a part of our community. I live in Portland. This is Portland. You are my neighbors, my co-workers, my community. So I want everyone here to know that J with J has got your back. We are here to support the students. One of the things that we are really fighting against is the fact that they are threatening students for their First Amendment right to protest, for your First Amendment right to free speech. This is fundamental human rights. You have the right to be here. You have the right to take that tape off your mouth. You are paying these people a lot of money. Say what you gotta say, do what you gotta do to get their attention. Because you notice we're community members, right? We're speaking for all of you today, right? And what did they do?
Walk out.
They walked out. They walked out on students at the last meeting, and today they walked out on community members. You hear me? Community, they don't give a shit. And they showed it today for everyone. So I want to let you know we're here. And also, side note, J with J is working with a bunch of students, as you all know, with the Fight for 15 on campus, right? Poverty State University can no longer exist. And we are fighting to end that. So I want to tell all of you our list of demands from Poverty State University. So number one, we demand a $15 minimum wage for all campus workers, including contract workers. Yes. According to the MIT Living Wage Calculator, the current living wage in Portland is $23.11 for one adult with a child. Due to rising housing costs and low vacancy rates, many of our community members are fighting to have basic necessities like food and shelter on low wages. Number two, we demand a transparent and accountable public process to ensure economic equity on campus. In the U.S., for every dollar a white man makes, a black man makes 75 cents, a Latino makes 53 cents. We demand that the Portland State Office of Equity, that all of you your rising tuition is paying for, right? That office, and compliance, release a statement in support of equal pay, and creates policies and procedures to document, reduce, and to eliminate an equitable pay gap due to race and gender on campus. That is important. How you cannot have economic equity without racial justice. Those two go hand in hand. Yes, right? Our last demand, number three, we demand that the PSU administration stop threatening student activists. They do not have the right to students do not lose their rights to free speech when they enroll in college. The right to join with fellow Portlanders in protest or peaceful assembly is critical to a functioning democracy at the core of the First Amendment. PSU does not have the right to threaten student activists and must stop these threats immediately. The fact that they went on live feed and made that veiled threat in the beginning shows you what kind of people we are dealing with, right? That was so blatant. That kind of blew me off. I was like, I can't believe they actually said that in the beginning, setting this up. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming. I am very proud and honored to be a community member, standing here and being your voice. J looks forward to continuing to being the voice of our community members in this room. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Opening it up for public comment for people, we have a list. Myself and Austin right there, waving their hand right there. If you want to sign up, come to one of us. Also, community members, if you please take your righteous seats at the board.
Stand or take my seat? I think I wrote some stuff down on my hand here.
Sheriff, this board accept your petitions and raise the minimum wage.
Tearing it up?
They didn't bring snacks, but I did. Women of color on the wall! There were 4 white males sitting here just about how long ago? Now we got 3 amazing women of color sitting up here.
Get the fuck out. Andy, take it. Come on, tell them something.
Tell them something. It was just recently published in a newspaper saying we want to make tuition affordable. How much bullshit is that?
Right.
Make affordable for who? Let knowledge serve the city? Who's knowledge? Who's city? He makes $600,000 a year. That's $50,000 a month. Every 2 minutes, he's making over $9.50 an hour or a minute. Yeah, every 3 minutes, he's making more than $15 an hour, which is the minimum that we're asking for our campus workers.
Right?
1/3 of your students drop out because they can't afford tuition. There's what, just under 30,000 students that go here? That's 10,000 people, just under 10,000 people that can't afford to get an education here at PSU. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. I'm tired of it. They want to increase it 4.5%? Is that right? They want to increase it
4.5.
4.3.
Yeah. It was 800 when I went.
Yes. So I'm a member of Super. I'm actually a student here standing with Students United for Palestinian Equal Rights. And Super had come to Vinville saying, hey, there's women getting their hijabs ripped off their heads. There's some Islamophobic anti-Arab things getting said on
3
campus.
years ago.
And then he goes, it's free speech, whatever. But yet he's front and center at the Islamophobia panel, which, by the way, Dana Ghazi had been trying to get on for 2 weeks as a Syrian woman, a Muslim woman, trying to get on that panel. The Suleha, who I love, she's good. But 45 minutes before the panel started. And guess who dipped out early?
Coward in chief.
I don't know how to end this other than my utter disgust for the fact that $600,000 a year plus your maid service, your phone, your car, your home, and you've got students that are houseless, that are hungry. Where's the logic? You don't give a shit. Just say it. Just fucking say it. Thank you.
My name is Heidi. I've been here for 5+ years. I also have been living on poverty wages, managed to raise an incredible, incredible human being, my beautiful daughter, on poverty wages.
And I had to sit here for 5 years at this institution, 5+ years. I'm a community member now, but I still feel like I'm a student. I'm drowning in over $60,000 to $80,000 of debt. I can't even keep track anymore. And you know what? I'm going to say it right here. I'm not paying that shit off. And I'm tired of dealing with, I'm going to call them the Board of Cowards, because that's what they are. And I want to coin the term today here. Let's start calling Vim the CIC, the coward in chief. I call him a coward to his face. He's a snake. He slivered out of that Islamophobia meeting, tries to use it as a badge of honor. I'm done with that. In the 5 years that I have been here, I've seen this institution. I've seen my tuition. I started paying, I think it was $17,000. Listen up, y'all. $17,500 for the first term I was here. And now, what's your bill this term? Anybody got it? The whole year. Yeah, that's crazy. Where's all that money going? To the Board of Cowards. So, what I want to talk about, I want to kind of zero back in on what Tierney was talking about. First of all, and I would have said this if they were here, I'm hoping this is going out on live feed still. They probably shut that shit down, but we're still here, right? But why are we here? We are here not for them, because we know they don't care. We know this corrupt, decadent, white supremacist, capitalist patriarchy, heteropatriarchy, doesn't give a shit about any of us that are pushing back against it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we're here to speak up and use our collective power to empower each other to continue the work. Because until the system is smashed, nobody that doesn't look like me can have any fair chance in this society. And we know that. And so until the system is smashed, it's going to stay the same. I'm sorry, but do not give a vote. Women died to get the vote. If women that died to get the vote could see what the system was now, the women that were in prison and force-fed, they say, oh, hell no, this is a corrupt capitalist system. Don't feel the burn. Don't fall for Hillary's BS. And you know what the rest of it's got going on, so I'm not even going to go there. What I want to talk about, what I want to finish up with, is that so about 2 to 3 years ago, before the super meeting, I had the lovely privilege of hearing the coward in chief at a city club meeting. Now those are very interesting. If you ever hear Vim Vivell or board members are going to speak at the city club, you'll get to hear what they think about us, the way they talk about us when we're not around and when they think we're not around.
City Club puts all their videos up on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, so listen to it.
You can watch it in full.
Basically, when students were starting to push back, and I was part of that wave back in 5 years ago, and I've been around since. He basically said if we just basically budgeted our money a little bit better, we wouldn't be in poverty. Meanwhile, let's talk about that $600,000 so-called sabbatical. That's welfare. He's on PSU students' welfare dole.
That's right.
He redesigned his beautiful luxury suite, whatever, with all his other bills paid because his wife just didn't like the decor at $10,000+ on your bill. That's sick, twisted stuff. So basically, while he's doing that, he's also demonizing students who are poor and trying to struggle and just get by. And also that goes to the students here on campus who are trying to get at least $15 an hour. We know it's just a start, okay? We're tired of hearing, well, you're going to have to ask for more, blah, blah, blah. No, it's a start. We demand $15 an hour, and then we go from there. Yeah. Right? 15 now! 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 Because as long as all of us, I've been living on less than $15 an hour. Let me tell you, it is not enough. I don't even know how I raised a child on less than $15 an hour. Meanwhile, as a single parent being demonized by this racist, decadent, nasty patriarchal system telling me that I should just pull my bootstraps just a little bit harder, tie them just a little bit tighter, and pull a little harder, while Vim Vivell sits on his ass, right, and just sits back and takes it all in. That is not okay anymore. So, what you can do for those of us who are fighting for the $15 an hour, be in the fight with us. Don't buy into the rhetoric that this capitalist system is feeding everybody. People that are not even making $15 an hour have argued with me that they don't think they need to make that much money. I'm like, this capitalist ideologist system has got you believing that you're not worth that. We are worth it, and we are worth so much more. Let's remember that. Let's keep this fight Keep going.
Well, hi, everybody. Hello. What a great turnout, and this has certainly been energetic, and I thank you all for being here. I'm a graduate of PSU. I graduated in 2009 with a master's in public administration, and if I remember correctly, we did not have cops in our classrooms. And does everybody, we have 2 cops here, does everybody feel safer? No. Okay, and I just noticed that one of the cops was playing on his iPhone. So what the hell's with that? It seems like PSU is creating a culture of fear to further gentrify the Portland area, to get rid of minorities and people of color, people with disabilities. I totally disagree with arming campus police, and I just wanted to get my voice heard today.
Your voice was heard.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nia.
Excuse me, before you speak, I just wanted to let you guys know that the board meeting is going to continue, and it's going to be audio streamed, and it'll be available in this room as well.
Thank God.
They're cowards.
Please vote with your hands in board meetings.
I don't even know where to begin. My family and I are from Vietnam. Like, we came to America on a boat. My mom was imprisoned in Vietnam. She was a war prisoner. And like, she escaped so that we can have a better opportunity in America, a better life. And she said, in America, we'll get you an education and everything. And here I am, jump to 20 years later, stuck here at PSU, gonna go into debt, basically become a slave to their debt. And they continue to raise tuition and make the situation at PSU even more comfortable for people like myself. I'm a trans woman of color. And for me to just walk across campus, like, that's, I mean, I see you and I think that's great, like, that you're, you know, like, you're here, but, like, you know, like, what you represent to people like me is that, like, is violence, the threat of violence. And I hope you know that, and just, like, basically, I do not feel safe here. I'm pretty sure all of you, like, do not feel safe here with, like men with guns here. And mind you, Oregon was founded on white supremacist capitalist ideology. Up until the 1940s, that, like, or even possibly the 50s, that my boyfriend, he can remember, or when his grandmother would tell him that, like, this is like a dark, a lights out zone. So, like, people of color would be working for their white employers, had to get home before dark, or otherwise they're gonna get lynched. So this is the bedrock of the ideologies that's going on here in Oregon. Jump to today. It is still going on. Those messages of white supremacists are still going on right now. If you go out this room right now, you will see a sign that supports Trump. Yep. That same ideology. Yeah. And for a student like myself and other brown students walking around campus, seeing that, how do you think we feel? And we have told the board of cowards over and over again. I love it. It's so true. I love it. It's so true. We have told them over and over again. And what are they doing? Looking down at their fucking papers, not even paying attention to us, because they don't care. To them, we are just their slaves. The United States, what I come to learn, is an empire. And what they do, what we are an empire. And what we do we're complicit in is the destruction of other countries outside of here. And then we make workers of the people that we colonize. And I am a colonial subject. I am here. I have a voice now. I can see the bullshit, the lies that we have been told. And every day I have to hear the narrative that this is the land of opportunity. You can pull yourself up by your bootstraps and work your ass off and you can become something. You can get incarcerated in America. That's what we are, a land of incarceration. I don't know where to begin because we are in the middle of it. This is the water that we're swimming in. And for your ass to know that, you got to take this on and continue with it because we got to end that shit and smash it. Because there are more people that are enslaved now than you think. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emma? Yeah. Okay.
I'm very good at like walking and standing and talking. I didn't know. Basically, yeah, sorry, I'll try and talk. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that was mentioned about the way this university is like working within this city and how the ways that like we can understand ourselves as students and how they treat us as students is related to how they treat people who aren't students and how people in power in Portland treat people in Portland because like I'm a native, I'm a second generation native. My dad grew up in East Portland, I grew up in East Portland, okay? And like, I've seen a huge amount of change because I live just off Division in Southeast. And yes. Yeah, and the amount of development has been really terrifying. And like, I don't feel safe in my neighborhood anymore because like, it's scary. There's a huge amount of,
We don't want to hear that. We're trying to hear somebody else.
You don't have to. We can
Shut it down. We don't want to hear it.
okay,
We want to hear the important people.
but basically, like, it's very interesting to me the way that, like, the way this school is acting towards people on campus with regard to campus security. I did a lot of the work doing research into how campus security, like, acts and how it works, and how the day-to-day, like, basis of how they control who they actually arrest is happening. And based on all the information that I got from the police blotter stuff in the Vanguard, pretty much, it became pretty obvious that, like, the reason for this kind of policing, the reason for armament, is a cosmetic and a profit-driven process. It is the same thing that people are doing when they basically build only buildings that rich people can live in. When they build an apartment complex and every single apartment is a rent of $1,000 a month. That's the same kind of shit.
By design.
It's by design, and it's a way of trying to basically push out and exclude people who aren't the kind of people they want to have in a pretty picture to get people to come here and spend fucking money. And so, like, at the end of the day, this, like, the policing of homeless people, which is the main function of campus police on campus, besides investigating, like, burglary or theft after it happens, which doesn't actually, by the way, involve addressing any individual, criminal or suspect. You actually just go and show up and write down what was stolen and then, hopefully find it or something. The actual main purpose that they have on campus is the policing of houseless people. It's the policing of people who look suspicious, which is code for houseless people, or people who look like they might be houseless or might be poor, right? Like when they arrest people primarily for outstanding warrants after running there for a search, possessing drug paraphernalia or a knife after being searched, after being stopped because they look suspicious. All of these things are not like situations of conflict. They are situations of control, of like policing of people's bodies and who's allowed to be in what spaces. That's what's happening. You don't need a gun to do that, but it makes it a lot easier. And so like, that's the kind of thing that I see even like more broadly. Like that's why these people are all here, that's why we're here, is because this is all the same shit. There is a school of real estate on this campus. It was created in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Its faculty are almost entirely made up of people who hold previous jobs currently in real estate, venture capital, and investment firms. Which means that, of course, they're all listed as adjunct faculty. So I want everybody to think about that the next time they look at like what we're paying adjunct faculty members. How much of that is the 25 people you added in the last 5 years, all of whom have like pre-existing second jobs that pay, probably over $100,000 a year?
So, you know, just something to think about. So like this is something that they're invested in. We invest in like real estate to expand. We invest in people who invest in real estate. Okay. This is a process that makes money for a specific group of people, and it's kind of all the same fucking people. And so like all this stuff is connected. Like when you see it in your neighborhood, it's the same kind of shit you're seeing here, and it's probably a lot of the same fucking people who are profiting off of it.
Yes. Can you give a report back about what the poverty?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can y'all tell what that meeting was just there? Everybody's here. Everybody needs to know what's being said. They just pulled them to the side and had us and have a private conversation, and they wanna pull somebody out and have a private conversation with Nickerson. No, say what they just said.
Okay. So I don't know what right there. I don't know what her position is. The woman in the blue cardigan who just left, who does some kind of job for the board. She just pulled me aside to tell me that Chairman Nickerson wants to meet with me. This is something that has been done many times. I know Alyssa has been pulled in by former Assistant Dean of Student Life, Dominic. I'll just go to the front. Divide and conquer strategy. No, we're not falling for that divide and conquer strategy.
Okay, that's fine.
So, I don't know. Raise your hand if you like weren't at the last board trustees interaction.
If you were not.
Oh, if you weren't. Yeah, perfect. So we have a very interesting relationship with the board. What just happened there is something that happens a lot. That woman pulled me aside telling me that the chair of the board, Pete Nickerson, who was sitting in the middle where Tressa is now, which is much better thing to see.
All
Wants to meet with me. I know Alyssa was covertly pulled into a meeting with somebody who works for the board a few weeks ago individually, and it was not there as direct as that was. It was something very covert that looked like it was something that was in support of Susu, when really it was a way to pull Alyssa in and get her to capitulate to what the board wants us to do. Hashtag capitulate. And we don't do that. I told her that it needed to be open. Any meeting that the board is having with us should be open. Everybody in the organization will know. We'll reach out to anybody in the school who wants to know. So it shouldn't be private. The board has been working in conjunction with ASPSU and people in the Women and Gender Studies Department simultaneously to have a meeting with us. And I know some of the dialogue that's been had is that we don't know how to reach out to them because they're too confrontational. Obviously there's a university. This is a university. There's a lot of turnover in who's present at the university. So people may not know, and I only know because I'm in the organization. This has been occurring for almost 3 years, and there was more than plenty of time for a dialogue to be had. And this has only happened because we have been ignored. The last interruption would not have happened if the changes that have been made on campus were not that of addressing the fact that we are a diverse campus, but actually doing work to increase equity among students of color. That's all we're asking them to do. We have demands, we've been clear, we do the work, much more than them. We're in a basic, we have no institutional support, and yet we're able to draw in students all the time to come here and to tell them what we want, and they choose not to listen. That's a choice that they've made. They could have very easily forfeited the last board meeting and moved to a different time to sit here and have us clear the way, and bring us in and talk to us, but they chose not to, and this is a consequence of that choice. There's more of us here than there are of them, and we should be the voices that are being heard. That's what happens. It's not open. It's not an announcement where, hey, we want to meet with Susu. It's picking and choosing and trying to divide and conquer. What I said earlier with Vin, it's not Vin anymore. About making deals with student government. Vin met with the president and the legislative director of student government because he doesn't even know this, but Susu were the people who were at ASPSU Senate meetings fighting so that the Oregon Student Association wouldn't get dismantled by cutting funding to them. We are the reason that happened. We were at every single Senate meeting. Ben must not know that because as he was signing the deal saying that they were going to continue to fund OSA, he said to Dan and Layla, since I'm doing this for you, maybe you can talk to Susu and get them to stop interrupting board meetings. It's pathetic. The president of our university is making deals with other students to undercut the work of students who have no institutional support. That's a weak move. They're weak. If they had the means to chop us down, they would have done it already, but they're not doing it.
All they have to do is listen.
all they have to do is listen. They're choosing not to. So our only choice is to continue this and to walk out on May 10th again. As a thank you.
Yeah. Listen, you all want them to listen to you. This has to be removed. I went to a college, a great books college. There would be 10 students around every board member that would take questions, ask her questions, and discuss and debate. Then they would go together and discuss what they discussed with the students, and they would make policies. This is a court, this is no meeting. You come to kneel. If you want to speak, you came to kneel. Don't you see? This needs to be removed. The next board meeting, you tell them they need round tables, they need chairs where they meet face to face. You don't give them your prepared speech, curtsy to the king. Right. They take a note for you, send you a little card maybe on Christmas, let you know they're thinking about you. No. You demand that they speak before you. That's not as a student body, as someone who pays them to be here. You pay them to be here. For them to walk out, like I said, the insult to it. Then accusing you of interrupting their meeting. They audio stream their own to silence your own voice. Do you see the utter disrespect? The utter disrespect. You feel it. Don't just get mad at it. Feel it, let it stick. And you don't go into, and I'm going to write another letter. No, you go right to that deed. You go right to where the money, right to where they deliver that money. You get that name, you get that number, and you tell them this is how the meeting is going to be held from now on. Next year's a different year. I'm not going to kneel. I'm not going to kneel.
Longer than many of you have been alive. I did my BA here, my MA here. I've taught as an adjunct instructor here, my first class in 2002, my last in 2014. I was disappeared as an adjunct because I went to the chair of my English department and I said, let's get some pathways for adjuncts. Let's have a 6-point plan of how we can attend meetings and how we can have some governance and academic freedom, etc. And she looked at me and she said, Tiffany, there's just nothing I can do, but I can give you the link to the Career Center. Okay, I also have 2 daughters that go to school here, so I paid tuition times 2. If I was a secretary in the Human Resources Department, I could offset that tuition with my benefits. No benefits here. So anyway, long story short, I was disappeared. And which is great, because I really owe this university something. And not what I learned in class, but what I learned by fighting the system, and they're who radicalized me. So I went to not the Career Center here, but I applied for a job at the union and got it. And now I work for Faculty Forward Network, and we organize faculty against oppression and students against, student debt, and that's at 1.3 trillion now. At this school alone, 78% of you are financed, right? You are paying interest on the institutional income into your grade. You can't bankrupt it. They will garnish your Social Security. Yep. Okay, so I just, and I have a couple of these, but I ripped up one and I gave it to Chair Dickerson, put my number on there. He said, you can take this back. He doesn't even fucking want it. Okay. But if anyone wants to feel with this little piece of paper and rip it up even more, it's yours. My number's on it. I'll take you to have a glass of wine or coffee if you're not 21. But the point is, Portland State has 99 problems, but Susu ain't one. Maud was, touched a couple times. Stop talking to Tiffany. Stop talking to Tiffany. And she's went like that. Oh, she'll fucking talk to her. She wants to talk to her. No way right now. And so anyway, I think that we're making progress. And I said a few things to get passed along. Dickerson apparently is going to call me. I doubt it will happen, but oh well. I don't really give a shit. And what I want you to know is that you're the next community leaders, and I told Mom that. You are my kids, right? And I told them that. If some heads are going to roll if they fuck with you anymore. Thank you. I am not joking. And I said, there's one of me. Did you see what happened with Margaret Spellings in North Carolina? And you know, civil disobedience is charming. You'll get booked and you'll leave. So what? We have to do whatever it takes to make this known. You're right? And so April 14th, I want you guys all out in the streets doing something, okay?
Hi, y'all. Oh my God. Oh God, this makes me so happy. So I want to pick up on what Olivia was just talking about. So my name is Alyssa Pagan, by the way.
Yes.
So the woman that got Olivia to go in that corner and talk tapped me on the shoulder and asked me to get Olivia, and I said, for what? And all she told me was, oh, I just want to tell her something. So she knew exactly what she was doing, and she felt the fact that I was alerted to that, and felt like she needed to lie to me to tell me what happened. And I sent, I asked 2 people to go over there with Olivia to make sure that they didn't snatch her up and to see what they were saying. Let me tell y'all something. What they just did to her, it's not just, oh, he wants to come see you, you can come talk to him if you want to. It's not that simple. Not at all. Because the first thing that they did was to try to talk to me. And they asked me to sit with people who are paid people right across the way in the urban center on the 7th floor, and they wanted me to go in there and have a meeting. I thought that these people wanted to talk to me about figuring out how they could support Susu's work. But really, let me tell you, this is serious. They were sent by the board in order for me to have a closed door meeting about some bullshit. What is it called? A creative collaborative governance. It's bullshit. It's a way to pull you into a committee so they can make you die in committee, so that we stop doing this. So when I walked out of that meeting, I left both of those men who were there. They were paid. They were just doing their job. I asked them if they were finished. I said, is there anything else on this agenda that y'all want to talk about? They told me no. I said, well, respectfully, I'm leaving. The board knows, because Susu has already made it very clear that what we want, if the board wants to talk to us, we want a public forum where they are all on a stage, mic'd up, with a room full of people who are going to hear everything that they say. So I'm letting all of y'all know, to whatever capacity that you're with us or supporting us, we are not open to having closed door meetings with anybody, ever. So they asked Olivia, they're going to ask somebody else next. The answer is always no. If you want to speak to us, you speak to all of us. Because you see exactly what happens when we collectively tell them that we want to talk. They leave. Just now, they wanted Olivia to come to them, to come talk to them. If you got time to talk to Olivia, you're P. Nickerson, you're the chair of the board, you got time for Olivia to come and grovel at you while you're in hiding somewhere? She's over here, and she's going to be over here. Period.
Our meeting's way more fun, by the way.
I want to thank the Board of Trustees today.
I know.
Yeah, they didn't even take your flowers.
I wanted to present these flowers to the students. This thing, seriously, like when people talk about those bread and roses, like give me my bread and roses now. I want them now. And for what you did today, all of you deserve your bread and your roses and your flowers.
Yeah, that's right.
So good job. Enjoy them while you're living. Give me my flowers. You know I love you, Alyssa. Oh.
I'm sorry. That was so beautiful.
Listen, everybody, wait, listen up. You know who's holding it down in this town and putting their bodies on the line in this town? Trans women of color and women of color.
All right, real quick, I hate public speaking. I really do. I'm nervous as fuck, but I always throw that out the window at the beginning of every single speech. Just wanted to say straight out to everyone, my background's pretty diverse, but not as diverse as every single face in this room right now. Every single voice that is desperate to be heard. Every single want and need, every single person that is here, and those that aren't here who aren't being represented. I want to thank you all for coming here today. First off, where do I begin? Where do I begin? I'm a PSU student studying biology, working my ass off, pulling down 2 jobs, one of which is a student work study, doing about 35 to 45 hours a week on top of a half schedule. Used to pull off a full schedule but nearly crashed. The average rent here in Portland, 10 miles from Pioneer Square, is roughly $1,400 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. $1,400. Well, I'm not sure for the Board of Trustees whether or not they actually attended college or not, whether or not they know what well, just simple math is. But at $10 an hour, busting 40 hours a week, every single week, not missing a shift, you're barely scraping by at $1,600 before taxes.
That's right, that's right.
$1,600 when $1,475 is already going straight to rent. It's not sustainable. And it's infuriating for a list of reasons, not simply because our voices aren't being heard, but the one board meeting I did attend prior to this in fall, the one that they were discussing funds for the school, tuition costs, including where they could quote-unquote help students. It was infuriating because, hell, I'm sorry. No,
Take your time.
I don't know about you, but I bust my ass. I honestly tried to bust my ass, and I tried to be as active in the community as possible. I tried to hear the pain and struggles from all sides, regardless. I tried to be the mediator. I understand, honestly, how it feels to work for public safety, how it feels to work in the security background, how it feels to be vilified. And yes, I am defending them here today. I have worked with men and women in that field, and it is tough. It is hard. But one thing that is harder than that, working on the opposite end, is when you jump to the other spectrum, when you hear all that is going on, and you try to build that bridge, when you try to build discussion, and it is segregated like this, fucking red tape rope, separating us away, walls built from fucking tables, ears that are silenced to the fact that students, even after getting a bachelor's degree, can barely find work in the city that they fucking live in, that they grow up in. It's frustrating. And at the end of the day, I tried my best. I tried my best to voice that concern, to understand what it's like. And I don't know. There's nothing else I can really say. My voice is gone.
Hello. First of all, I'm going to start with a question. Who in here knows somebody who's registered with the DRC? Good, good. And I too am a student registered with the DRC, and the reason why I am wearing my sunglasses the way I am right now is because back in the spring of 2015, I was brutalized by campus security. All because I was having a seizure in the middle of class. Yeah, I know, right? That's okay. And another reason why I'm wearing my sunglasses like this is because campus security thought I was too blind to understand what happened. And even though my peers and my instructor tried to intervene, the campus security said to them to keep their fucking distance. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
And they told me that if I reported them to security administration, they would file disciplinary action against me. They told me to keep quiet about it. And although I did report it to the DRC, and although there are some good people associated with the DRC, nothing was done about it. And I still get nightmares about that incident, even to this day. And a lot needs to be done. And from what I understand, students with disabilities at the average college anywhere in the country make it are about 20% of the student population. But students with disabilities are treated like shit. Even here at Portland State. And more needs to be done to make sure students with disabilities don't feel like they are worthless. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
What he's talking about, that your fellow comrades in arms, with arms, did to him. You didn't even stay in the room to listen. And that is some BS. That's the system that we're dealing with. There's something very, very wrong.
Hello everybody, I'm Jamie Partridge. I was one of the chief petitioners on the ballot initiative for a $15 minimum wage in the state of Oregon.
Yes.
Which is no longer happening right now. I'll get back to that.